Please welcome Mr. Jeff Burningham to the stage.
Is that the same song for everyone? If not, that's perfect
That's
for
not
me.
fair.
Let's do it. That's a great theme song.
Jeff, welcome to the stage.
Good to be
Excited
with
to
you,
have
Natalie.
a 10-minute conversation with you.
All
Make
right.
it go as quick as we can.
Yes.
Just want to ask you right at the top, just to get some personal insight into you. I was at the state capitol when you announced your candidacy. Met your wife, met your family. I'd love you to just quickly introduce, you don't have to have them stand up, but yourself and your family, anything personal to the audience, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm the father of 4, all children, publicly educated, ages 18 to 9 years old. My wife, Sally, is here tonight. Sally, somewhere over here. She's a second grade school teacher, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've helped create thousands of jobs here in Utah. Economic development is not theoretical to me. It is what I have devoted my life and career to. I've started several businesses in 3 main sectors: real estate, finance, and technology. So I'm a political outsider. I've been politically active during my career, helped raise quite a bit of money for Republican candidates, and been a precinct chair, state and county delegate, but I have never run for political office. And isn't that a breath of fresh air?
To have you on the stage.
Yes.
We want to hear your one big idea for air quality.
Here's my big idea, and I think the other candidates are behind stage, so I can say something nice about them, right? Can you wander with me a little bit?
Okay.
I'm really, because it leads to the big idea. I admire the 5 people that I'm running against. John Huntsman not only has served our state, but he served our country, and his children are serving. It's obvious that was critical in their home. Amy Winder Newton comes from a great foundational family here in Utah, and she's continuing that legacy. Greg Hughes, how many of us really know Greg Hughes? We know of his reputation, but I've found him to be a very nice guy. I've heard his story, a very, very nice guy, pretty nice guy, and he's gonna stay that way. Make sure he stays that way. Let's see, who else do we have? Thomas Wright. Here's something I notice about Thomas. He will gather people from the outside of the room and bring them in. And then lastly, help me, Spencer Cox. Spencer is, I've heard of a story of him helping a local youth in Sound Peak County when he was really struggling. Here's my point. The big idea is it's about people. There's really, the candidates for governor are a representation of the state of Utah. We have great people across the state of Utah. It's about the people of Utah. We can't, unless we take away these beautiful mountains, which we don't want to do and can't do, we cannot regulate ourselves all the way to clean air. So it's about the people. I'm an entrepreneur. I've helped create thousands of jobs in Utah, most recently helping fund a lot of the companies along Silicon Slopes. So here's my big idea from my background. I would challenge every tech CEO to see how many miles they can reduce from their company every year. Whoever wins gets a prize from Tom Carter. So challenge them to cut down on transportation. Because obviously transportation leads to poor air quality. Technology allows you to work from home. That is a big idea that I would do as a governor.
Okay, thank you. We've got 6.5 minutes left. I do want you to take 1 second and mention something about Jan Garbett, who's also joined the race, didn't qualify to be here. I don't know if you've met Jan, but...
Yes. Well, here's what I love about Jan, and I do not know her well. She's an entrepreneur.
Great.
She started a company with her husband,
Just
building homes, energy-efficient homes.
People.
I bet if she were standing here, she'd say the most energy-efficient homes in the state.
Yeah, great. Okay, I've been watching your campaign actively. I noticed you're telling, you're saying I'm a conservative. Limited government is a big part of being a conservative. A lot of the things we think of as helping with reducing air emissions are bigger government. We have to invest in air quality monitoring. We have to invest in transit. We might have to have the heavy hand of regulation. So I wanted to just ask you to kind of square up your thoughts about limited government versus the way we get on top of some of the air quality challenges we have.
Yeah, it's a great question. It goes to my point of who I am. I think it's about the people of Utah. If we unleash our entrepreneurs and continue to encourage them to innovate, they will. I think that the answers to our air quality questions come from private innovation. It doesn't come from government. And that's why in this election, the value of a fresh perspective is so critical. Secondly, obviously, government can incentivize good behavior. We have HOV lanes, for example, and other things. There are things that we can do to incentivize good behavior, but really, in my opinion, it is about innovation in the private sector. Let's continue to unlock that. Let's empower our entrepreneurs to do that. I think that would be a critical component to what I would bring as a governor.
Thank you. Economic growth and emissions can be related.
Yeah.
And you talk in your campaign about artificial growth versus organic growth. I'd love you to make the air quality connection to those two if you'd like.
Absolutely, and this is really why I'm running for governor. It became apparent to me a couple of years ago that the game plan, the playbook that we've been using for Utah for the last decade or more is not the playbook to keep us on top any longer. And we see this in our crowded classrooms. We see this as our commutes grow. We see this in our air. We are the youngest state in the country, as you well know. We are growing because of our entrepreneurs. Our entrepreneurs have created the most diverse and exciting economy in the country. Our children and grandchildren are staying here in larger and larger numbers. So that's good. Here's a bad plan that we've been using. Artificially incentivizing growth along the Wasatch Front is a bad plan. Tax incentivizing growth along the Wasatch Front is not a play that we should go to any longer. It exacerbates the issues we already have that I spoke about, including air quality. So let's stop tax incentivizing growth to the Wasatch Front when we're already growing at a great pace. Look, there are not 1,000 government programs that could create the economy the entrepreneurs of this state have. They will continue to innovate. I think this is just the beginning for economic development in our state.
I want to ask you about the motor fuel tax. So we have sales tax earmarks that help fund our roads. It's about $620 million a year.
Yeah.
A user fee would be to have a gas tax. If there's a gas tax, people will drive less, we'll have less maintenance costs, and they'll have less emissions. Would you support a gas tax increase as governor?
Well, let me say two things to that. Number one, the gas tax is slowly dying or going away. Electric vehicles, we own one at our home. They are going to be ubiquitous before we know it. So instead of just raising the gas tax continually, stacking, that's a short-term fix. That's not a long-term solution to the problem.
May I change it to a VMT tax then, a vehicle mile travel tax that would still monitor usage?
And that was my second point. So the point is, it's always good tax policy to try to tie tax as close to usage as possible. So there may be a good way that we can do that. I haven't formulated a good plan exactly, but as much as we can tie usage to tax, I support that. That makes tax simple, it makes it transparent, and it makes it understandable. By the way, I don't think the tax reform bill was any of those.
Okay, very good. We add about 50,000 people a year to Utah. It's a city the size of Murray. I'm just curious, as you think about that, what would you do in the quality growth arena to help with our air quality challenges?
Yeah, Sally and I have an electric vehicle. We walk to church when weather permits. I walked this last Sunday. We've been known to double up on a Lime scooter, haven't we, Sally? Both of us on one Lime. You may see us. So my point is...
Not on sidewalks and with helmets, right?
We don't wear helmets and we're not on sidewalks, but we are together. But here's my point of saying that. Those are three little things, very little things, that my family does. But we need to tie outcomes to behavior. We need to change the culture in Utah and help people understand that they can be part of solving this problem. The people of Utah rise to the challenge when they're faced with a challenge, when they understand it. When they have a clarion call from a governor, they will rise to the challenge, I have no doubt. So we need to continue to talk about this, and we need to continue to elevate small behavioral changes that will make a lasting difference if we can get scale with those. So I would plan to do that and champion that as a governor. The 50,000 people that are coming in, they won't know that unless they hear that from the governor and unless the governor is leading by example.
Thank you. We have one more question for you. We want you to give us one word that would describe your air quality leadership. Got 15 seconds. You can do a little prelude and then the one word.
Yeah, I would say big vision. Vision.
Stand up and I'll tell you why we're laughing.
Big vision. That's what I'm saying.
So you're the only one that did 2 words.
Sorry.
But the other ones both did vision.
Yeah. I'm an entrepreneur. It's hard for me to keep the rules sometimes, so 2 words.
Mr. Jeff Burningham.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you, Natalie.
Yeah.